What's up, everybody? It's your King and Queen B, Ken and Liz here.
And this is
The Buzz.
So this segment, you guys, is literally just basically views, opinions, events that have happened in our lives, or things that we've seen and we like, oh, I think we should talk about that, or anything that you guys comment below and you want to know our views and opinions on them, or if they've ever happened to us, things like that.
So the first topic that I personally want to talk about is I recently, last week, got fired from my job. I'm not going to say where I was working at because just in case somebody that works for the company sees it or somebody from the company somehow sees it, I don't need them coming at me, for calling them out or whatnot. But I got fired from my job last week because they pretty much told me that it wasn't working out, even though my only job was to pretty much stand there and watch another man work on vehicles as well as hand him tools whenever he needed it, because the agreement was when I went to the interview that I would have a 30-day trial period where I would just be shadowing one of their best mechanics who was a world-class mechanic. He's certified and all that good stuff. And he would pretty much teach me, as they say, teach me everything that he knows until my manager felt confident that he would give me my own vehicles to work on. So I did this for about 3 weeks where I just sat there, watched him. Every now and then he would teach me something, but mostly I just sat there watching him work for hours, for about eight to 9 hours, depending on what time we got off. And then one Friday, last Friday to be exact, I went to the restroom for a brief moment, had to go to the restroom, and I get a call from my manager saying that he needs to see me in his office. So I go in there thinking, oh, he needs me to go, test drive a car or something like that because they let me do that or whatever. And he pretty much looks at me and goes, this isn't working out. It's not. I don't feel. I feel like you're wasting your time here. Blah blah blah. Maybe there's somewhere else you can go, and all this other stuff. Now, obviously, out loud, I was like, okay, I respect your decision. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But in my head, I was thinking, how is this not working out when all I'm doing every single day for the last 3 weeks is staring at another man working on vehicles and handing him tools every now and then. And maybe if I'm lucky, do an oil change or something. It's like, how could I possibly not be doing that right? How could you possibly say that I'm doing something wrong or that it's just not working out when you haven't given me that opportunity to actually show you what I'm capable of? Because for those people who actually know me, I was a diesel mechanic in the Marine Corps for 4 years. And so I do know how to work on vehicles. But because I'm not certified, like officially certified, I'm only certified through the government, he wanted to do a 30-day trial to see if he actually legitimately wanted me to work there. And apparently he didn't want to. Luckily, the day before I got fired, I had an interview with another company, a diesel truck company, actually, that hired me on, and they wanted me to go do my 2-week notice, blah, 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 whatever, just to find out the next day I got fired. So, I mean, I guess it was a bittersweet moment. I got fired, but at the same time, I had a backup plan already set up. So, it all ended well, I guess. It's not like I don't have a job or anything right now. So I guess that's a positive note.
On another note, our next subject that we kind of want to speak on is relationships. And it's not necessarily relationships in general, but it is kind of relationships in general at the same time. But it's more like little bits and pieces of what goes into it that we kind of want to talk about. We actually have someone in our lives, or that has been kind of in and out a little bit of our lives, that kind of has made us want to talk about this kind of thing. So obviously we're not going to name any names, but it's crazy. It literally blows my mind. But these people have only known each other since 2018 September. Literally just met. They're already about to get married next month.
Yeah. And my opinion on that, like what I want to say about that is that we've been together since we were 13 years old. We've been married almost 5 years and everything like that. But even with us being together as long as it did, it took me, myself, almost after we had been dating for probably a year and a half before I finally even said that I loved her, let alone marrying her or thinking about marrying her. But then there's people that after like a week or two are like, yeah, I'm gonna marry this dude or I'm gonna marry this chick. It's ridiculous. It's like how you don't know you don't know the person. Like I don't understand how you can just go from strangers to marriage in like a matter of days, weeks, months, whatever. Because it's like you don't know nothing. And I've seen so many relationships like that, not necessarily just this one person, but people that I've met over my entire life where they meet somebody and they date for like 2, 3 weeks, or a couple months, whatever. Maybe if they're lucky, date a year. And then they're like, oh yeah, I want to marry this person, whatever, whatever. And it's like, how? Because it's like, we didn't think about, we didn't even talk about getting married really until we started living together and all this other shit. And we knew that, yeah, this is
Which
this.
is crazy because, like he said, we've known each other since right before my 13th birthday, or actually both of our 13th birthday. So we were 12 when we met, but we were 13 obviously when we started actually dating, I guess you want to say. But even then, we've not only grown up, in the age factor and everything like that, but mentally, grown up together, because it's like 12 to 18 is like a really big time in your life to grow mentally, figure out what you want in life or who you are, things like that. And we still, even after graduating high school, weren't sure if we wanted to get married. Like, that's a really big commitment. I mean, like, I personally knew that I didn't want anybody else but him, and that I wasn't going to love anybody else but him, and I could live and want to live the rest of my life with him. But marriage is a big step, and we had just graduated high school, and we didn't get married until 19. And even then, it was, I don't want to say like only because, but he had been in the Marine Corps and everything, and he was moving all the way to California. And we were in North Carolina at the time, and it's a long way. And that if he was going to stay in North Carolina or be in South Carolina, somewhere close, we probably wouldn't have gotten married right away. But he was like, I love you. I feel the same about you. I've been in love with you for a long time. I don't want anybody else, nor do I want to be without you. So let's go.
Right. But it's like, like I said, it's like I don't understand that whole falling in love so easily. Like I get it that there is sometimes that it's like, oh, love at first sight. Like there are people that do that where they see somebody and immediately just make a connection, It and that's fine and dandy, but my thing is if you're going to marry somebody, like if you're going to make that commitment, because as we all know, marriage is not one of those things where it's like, you can just do it and, walk away if you don't like it. Like it's going to cost money to, end it. Like it's going to, not only that, but if you're with them for a long period of time, you have to give up half your stuff to that other person, whether you're a man or a woman, no matter who's,
Which that just gets crazier depending on where you go in life. So it's like if you sit there and you're like, oh, I'm in love with this person and, things like that, which is great because it's like, like my husband said, if, the whole love at first sight thing, I personally believe in that because I had that happen with him. but it like it's literally so crazy I can't wrap my head around it. If anybody that knows me, like my best friend Victoria, I'm gonna shout out to her, but and my husband and some of my other friends and my family members, some that we're pretty close with, know that I'm a super 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 emotional person. Like sometimes I'll look at my husband and just cry just because I love him that much. Or my chihuahua specifically. I'll look at her or I'll start loving on her and cry. Or we'll be out in the middle of nowhere, at Walmart or something, and I'll be like, oh, I miss my Chimini, because
That's
that's
an
what I call
understatement.
her. I'll literally, and it'll have nothing to do with her.
That's an understatement.
I cry at almost every movie, even horror movies where people are getting chopped up. I'm crying. And not because I'm scared, but because I feel like that's sad.
Yeah, pretty much in a nutshell. And it's
I love horror movies. But even and you can ask, didn't even say that I loved him until what? I think it was like a week or two before our 1 year of dating.
yeah, but it's like, but it's just one of those things that I just can't wrap my head around. And it's like everybody, everybody has their own different opinions on what love is and all that stuff. I mean, if you're one of those people that it's like, oh, I know her name, her eye color, blah blah, whatever, that's good enough to marry her, so be it. But me personally, growing up, I always told myself that if I ever get married, that's it. Like once I'm married, I'm only getting married once. There is no I'm gonna get a divorce and remarry or whatever. Like no, I told myself at a young age that if I ever do get married, I'm only gonna get married once because I've had too many relatives and friends over the years that get married and then they're married for like a year or two, get a divorce, and then immediately jump into another marriage within a couple
Mm-hmm.
months or a year later. And it's like, I didn't want to do that. So I told myself at a young age that before I marry anybody, I was going to make sure that I know every little thing about her and make 100% sure that she was wife material. Because believe it or not, guys, women do a lot of things to look good for you at first. And I'm not gonna say that men don't do it too. We do the same fucking thing where we where everybody does those little things to look good, look attractive, appealing to their partner. But then as soon as you get married, all that goes away. Like it all kind of just you see the real them pretty much because at that point they got you. They ain't got to try no more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll admit I've done it. I've done it where like I'm not gonna say that I turned into a douchebag or whatever, but like I don't do a lot of the things that I used to do when I first started dating her and I was trying to impress her and all that other stuff. I do some of it, but there's a lot of things that I used to do that I don't do at all anymore. And it's not necessarily that I did it to trick her or whatever. It was just one of those things that we all do as human beings that we do whatever we can to pull that person in, make that person want to be with us, blah blah blah, whatever. And
And it's nothing like, oh, I don't romanticize you anymore, even though it's like, I'm not really one of those that has to be like the Notebook romantic all the time, but it's like he does surprise me with little things, things like that. But it's kind of like, I don't do my makeup every day. I don't,
even though
but
she doesn't
when,
need to.
thank you. But when we first started dating, girls, it's just one of those things that you kind of do every day. You shave all the time, you make your hair look good, you have to put 20 pounds of deodorant on, you have to do all this stuff. But then it's like, once y'all are together, it's that comfortable level, to where it's like, I don't feel like doing it. Why? You're already with me, you
Right.
know? But
And
it doesn't, I don't understand because like my great grandparents were married a long time, literally until the day they passed away. And which was a long time. I think it was 50 years or something like that. It might have been more than that. But they both talked to me about fall in love on first sight, because that's literally what happened to them. And even they sat there and said they had to live together first. Because it's one thing to know everything about someone, kind of like best friends. You know everything about that person. You really do. You know them inside and out. But you don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's And then I think another thing with best friends is that they always sit there and they're like, oh, well, marry your best friend. I personally believe in that 100%. My husband's my best friend, but he knows me, you know? And I don't think you fully know someone until you can't run away, you know? Like living together. There is no, well, I'm going back to my apartment, or I'm going to my mom's house, or, you know, back to my best friend's house or something like that to escape arguing or anything like that, you know? I think you need to see them in their worst.
Mm-hmm.
That's when a lot of true colors come out. You need to see them in their best. That's when a lot of true colors come out. You know, because they can sit there and at their worst be like, oh, and all humble and stuff like that. But then they come up in life and they want nothing to do with you. Or opposite. You know, my husband seen me at my greatest, at below my worst, grieving, angry, you know, like when I'm hungry, you know, everything. He knows, he's seen everything. So he knows me. And it's not just her favorite color or her past or whatever. It's he knows me.
And going off of what she said of the whole, pretty much, not trying to change subjects here like too much, but pretty much I want to talk about something as far that I call being a leech. When you sit there and somebody's on the come up, like she said, if somebody's on the come up and you only want to be around when they're on the come up, but don't want to be around them when they're at their lowest point, you don't need to be with that person, or in general, you don't need to associate, whether it's family, a significant other, friend, whatever. You don't need to have that person in your life, because I know a lot of people that are leeches. She had her best friend, even though, you know, it's her best friend or former best friend, whatever you want to call her. Her best friend is a leech. Like, all she ever did was try to compete with Liz and try to be like her or be better than her, whatever she was trying to do. And just constantly did everything to show that she wasn't a friend and whatnot, or and that she didn't care. But of course, Liz, being the kind-hearted person she was, kept giving her chance after chance after chance, until finally she realized that how many chances is too many, you know? And now they don't talk anymore. But there's a lot of people that could be labeled a leech, because I know, for example, us, we have this YouTube channel right now. We don't have nobody that really talks to us, really, except for our small little circle of people that we talk to on a regular basis. But I know for a fact that if we blew up and became really popular on YouTube, to where we started making money off of YouTube
We
and
have
started having a fan base.
friends
Oh
on
yeah,
both sides, family on both sides that would come around wanting everything to do with us.
right. Sitting there, oh, we knew you could do it, blah blah. Even though a lot of those people were like, oh, you're not going to amount to anything in life. Like, I got told by a family member that I wasn't going to amount to anything except for sitting in jail. But here I am at 23, almost 24 years old, never once even been to juvie. So I've already proved that person wrong. Not to mention that I'm doing this YouTube channel with my darling wife, and we plan on growing this channel. We plan on making a community and having a fan base, entertaining you guys and all that other stuff, to where, I mean, maybe if we get to that point, we can start making money off of this, and then we can share the wealth with you guys, because y'all have been rolling with us since day one. Y'all believed in us. Y'all supported us and everything like that.
We literally wouldn't be doing stuff in the future, you know, if we got big without you guys, because y'all are what have made us big, or will be making us big.
Exactly. And for those people that weren't with us from the beginning or aren't here supporting us or doubted us when they do come around wanting something or needing something or thinking that we owe them something. Oh yeah, no, that's not happening because I don't do leeches. And if you're getting offended by what I'm saying right now, it's more than likely because you're that leech.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, if you have to literally, if you're getting hurt, and it's not, it, like, when we sit there and we're like, oh, well, if you're getting hurt, it's probably because you need to look in the mirror. It really is. And it's not one of those subjects to where it's like, oh, I think women are fat, and if you're getting offended, freaking, you need to look in the mirror or go to a gym.
No.
Obviously not. It's literally something personal in that.
Right.
And don't ever, when those leeches come around, make them make you feel bad.
No.
Because a lot of them would do, especially family members.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like if, like moms, dads, sisters, brothers, anybody. Like, if they've been around, but they have, oh, well, but I'm your family. And if this blows up, where are you going to go? Like, they'll say anything and everything to try and manipulate you to where you feel bad. Or you feel like a piece of crap or something for not letting them in or for not helping them or anything like that. I know specifically, my people who have been there for me since day one, or since right now, or when I needed them most, and they haven't left me. And they are amazing. It's like I personally, like my best friend Victoria, she's been there for me with so many things. I was in a really, really dark place in California at one point, and she was my whole light. She really was. And my husband helped me out with a lot of stuff. Freaking, another really great friend of mine, Erica, she was my light in a lot of things. She's an amazing person in general. I do have some family, that was there for me. Things like that, but I really don't have anybody except for I can literally people on my hands and toes that I can count, and then my husband's my number one, and he literally has the exact same amount of very, very, very small people. So
probably smaller group because
more than likely smaller.
Because it's like it's one thing to be a social butterfly, as everybody calls it, to where you have so many friends. But here's the thing about being a social butterfly and having so many friends. Have something bad happen to you. Not saying go out and, have purposely find something bad to happen to you. But let something bad happen to you. And realistically see how many of those people actually have your back when you need them the most. Mm-hmm. Because everybody will sit there when you don't need anything and be like, oh, you're my best friend or you're my favorite cousin, my favorite whatever. Yeah. If you need anything, I got you. Yeah. But let something seriously happen and see how many of those people that said that actually turn around and do what they say.
It's kind of like, I don't know how many of you guys watching have Facebook or anything, but there's a lot of, like memes or posts or anything like that out there that sit there and it's like, oh, want to know who your real friends is? Do these things. And it's be broke. Have a kid. Literally have nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like be at your lowest point in everything, basically. Don't have that kind of money. Don't have popularity. Don't have anything. Mm-hmm. And see who's still around. Those are the people that are the realest.
Yep. And everybody else is just a leech. And I trust me, I know I have a lot of friends that are leeches because I know for a fact that, if it's easy for you to just randomly stop talking to me for a long period, especially if you call yourself a best friend, like if you claim to be a best friend and you just randomly disappear for no reason, like if it's not, oh, I'm working or I got stuff, like me and my best friend JT, like we can go months, years, whatever without talking, but come back and talk like we never disappeared from each other just because we have that understanding that we're both at a point in our life where we're on a come up. We have things that we need to do for ourselves to make ourselves better. But at the same time, we're not sitting there, oh, he's doing this. Well, let me do this because this makes me look better than him, blah blah. No, we don't compete. We support each other wholeheartedly.
Well, not only that, but it's like when you guys, when I know them two specifically because I've known JT. I mean, obviously he's known JT way longer than I have, but JT is also my best friend. I met him when I was 11, 12, something like that. Yeah, so it's like I've known him a really long time. He's also my best friend, so he's mutual best friend for both of us. But them two specifically, me and my best friend Victoria, we know that we have adult lives. We have adult things to do. We're in two separate states, So, but when we come back and talk to each other, when they come back and they talk to each other, if they came and visited, if we went and visited them, it'd be like nothing ever happened. And nothing still comes between us. And so like that kind of goes into like relationships and leeches at the same time. But it's crazy. It really is, because there's so many people. There's a person specifically that I know with my husband that sits there and, oh, I'm your best friend, I'm a great friend, I know everything about you, all this other stuff, but will leave him in the middle of nowhere. They can be in the middle of talking and be like, oh, well, I gotta go, I'll call you back. Doesn't talk to him, but then wants something from him. Mm-hmm. Wants to be around him. It's one of those that, oh, it's convenient for me kind of friend.
Yep, pretty much. And it's like, he knows who he is. If he was to watch this video, he knows who he is. Like I said, if you're watching this video and you get offended by it, it's probably because you're one of those people, and you might want to reevaluate yourself and become a better person, because to me, there's nothing worse than a leech. Somebody that, in my eyes, the way I look at a leech is you hate yourself so much, you hate your life so much that you would much rather pretty much copy somebody else or do something better than somebody else who's actually content with their life than just go with whatever you have. Like, it's honestly sad. Honestly, it really is. Because it's just, there's no reason to compete with anybody. Because at the end of the day, all life is we live, we work, we die.
I feel like the only time you should really compete is if it's something like a sport. But even then, there's this thing called sportsmanship, to where it's not that you're better, but you are better. Like, in a sense, it's like, oh, I won. But you're not better as a person. You just kind of got, a little bit more skill, or, something happened. It's like, and they do this thing called training to get better, to get to that point. People aren't born, I don't know if anybody's gonna, get this subject, but it's like nobody's born Jeffree Star. Nobody's born Ray Lewis. They had to come up that way. And, it's crazy. Because it's like, my personal idol, Jeffree Star, he's, he did a thing with Shane, to where he kind of told, I had to struggle, I had to do this, I've lost this people because they were leeches. He still has leeches, but he doesn't deal with it anymore, and he's come up in life and he has the people that he has, and it's sad. And it's like, a lot of people, you can sit there and say that, I don't care, I'll never have a leech, or if they do, I'll just cut them out of my life, it won't hurt me.
You never see it coming.
You don't. You really don't. There's some that are really obvious, really, really obvious, to where you can be like, yeah, no. And then there's some that you don't know until you're way deep into it, and you're going to sit there and say that it's not going to hurt. And it's like, to them, make it seem like it doesn't hurt. It's like, cut them off, do whatever, act like a heartless bee, basically. But it's always gonna hurt. Now, The hurt, though, depends not only on you, but on who or what you're cutting off. Because, like he said, my ex-best friend, that was so hard for me. It was it was utterly heartbreaking. It really was, because I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and we had been through so much together. We literally grew up together. Our moms knew each other in high school, everything, that kind of best friend. She knew my darkest secrets, she knew my best secrets, she knew everything. Like, she was my human punching bag, diary, everything. That was hard. And then there was other people, specifically, some family members, other people that tried to come into my lives that I was like, no. And it didn't really hurt, but it did, because it was like, it's just annoying. Like, why? If my husband, does way better, like, if we have a mutual thing that we like to do, but he's better than me, or he becomes better than me, that's my goal. I don't ever see it as, oh, well, I'm pissed off now because you're better than me and I have to try and one up you and things like that. I want to one up you, but not to spite you, because you are now my goal. Because I don't see things like Jeffrey and get pissed off and in my feelings and have to, oh, well, I'm going to alienate this person and I'm going to talk crap about this person. I'm going to just be bitter because someone has something I don't. Yeah, well, those are things you can work for, instead of trying to do things like be a leech. Go out and work for it. Go get it.
And we only say these things because we're trying to keep it 100 with you. And that's always how it's going to be. Like, everybody that knows us knows that we will always keep it 100. We won't BS nobody. We won't sugarcoat nothing. We call it how we see it. If you don't like it, hey, sorry, but somebody has to be the one to tell folks what things are.
And it's not one of those things where we know nothing about it. It's personal experience. We're seeing it from personal experience. It's not one of the things, oh, well, I saw on YouTube, or I saw on Google, No, we've literally personally been through it our whole lives. Something has happened over and over again, or, either once or twice, or something to where it's like we know what we're talking about, and I'm one of those people that have learned a lot of things the hard way. So I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, well, we know, just because it's easy for us to cut off, or it's easy for us to learn this, or I learned this, I didn't have to do that. No, I learned the hard way in a lot of things. A lot. And I'm sure my husband can contest to that. And then he has also learned a lot of things the hard way.
That's an understatement.
Whether he was stubborn or someone literally tried to tell him and he's like, no, you don't know, because it's not being able to trust someone because of all the leeches. You literally never know who to trust. So it's like someone could come into your life and sincerely be like, dude, this dude's gonna stab you in the back. I'm trying to warn you. But you don't know whether it's like, oh, wow, you're actually trying to warn me? Or you're another leech.
Right.
So
I feel we've spoken our piece about it.
Yeah, made our point across, things like that.
If you enjoyed watching this and you agree with, or even if you disagree with what we say, still like the video if you watched it all the way through. Leave a little comment on some topics that you may want us to give our 2 cents about, or maybe if you have anything else that you might want to see on here, we'll do it. Like we said in our first video, we're willing to do challenges, whatever you guys want to see, we'll do it.
Or your opinion on anything that we've said, things like that. Just comment down below, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you know whenever we upload.
And thank you guys so much. We will see you in the next one. Peace.